Just want to thank everyone for looking at me YouTube shorts that I've been putting out on YouTube on my YouTube channel. It's my shorts are under Chronicles of the Void, and I've basically set up a new school community that I've slowly started to put together for really anyone that's interested in really looking at and delving into me D&D Theatre of the Mind engine that I've created. As you can see from the screenshots that I'm recording, this is me school account, and each session or each class is basically a step-by-step guide. You start off on the getting started, which is just basic information, and then it just works through your starting dungeon, which is your threshold trial. And with this, you basically are given a set of 4 characters or 6 characters or however many is in the group playing. These are all pre-made, and within it there's a basic dungeon crawler, and it basically allows you to see the mechanics of the engine, see what sort of type of characters you can become, and your skills, and it just gives you a little insight into the theatre of the mind play. Now obviously once you've done that, then you move on to the start of the main campaign, which you start off in the Destiny dungeon. Now this is somewhat unique, because unlike traditional D&D, where you just log into D&D Beyond, you look at your character sheets, you roll your dice, and you pick who you're going to be, like your class, your race, what stats you want to create, and your skills and your background and that sort of stuff, which is all generic and the traditional way of playing it. What the Destiny dungeon does is you actually start like a lifeless soul. It's the easiest way to put it. You basically enter the dungeon on a clean sheet, but you go in as yourselves. So however you are character-wise in real life, that's what you go in with. And the dungeon's been specifically designed so the dungeon master can see what you would do as a person in certain events, certain trials or puzzles or combat. And with that, the dungeon master, in the Dungeon Master's Guide or the Architect's book, he has a counter that he can use to tally what character you're going to be. And unlike traditional D&D, where players have access to the Dungeon Master's Guide, with this one, for me school account, I've specifically left certain books for players and certain books for DMs, and the reason for that is how, if a player was to look at the Artifacts Handbook, it would give away what they would need to do to become a certain character or subclass, which would just completely destroy the actual character creation system, because the Destiny dungeon is the character creator system. You go in there and the puzzles, the combat, you do how you would do it. So you're not going to know what character you're going to become until the end of that Destiny dungeon. The dungeon master will take everything away, the numbers. It's also out in the architecture on how you would work out what that person's character is going to be. And I've done it so it's not heavy loaded work. It's basically just a chart where you do a set of numbers, you tally the numbers up, and that gives you what that person's going to be. So it's more of a surprise to the player who they're going to be when they start the main campaign. I think the Destiny dungeon, you can think of it as like a one shot, so you could probably do the Destiny dungeon in probably 2 or 3 hours. So you can even have your Destiny dungeon as maybe a session 0, where you do the Destiny dungeon. It's session 0 that creates the characters through a dungeon crawl, and then the following week, before the start of your first campaign, it gives you then time to sort out and see exactly who's what character. After the Destiny dungeon, as you can see, campaign 1 is actually all fully complete and playable. It's over 2 parts, but the full campaign is over 62 sessions, so it is a bit of a beefy campaign, but that campaign will never be shown to players. That is solely for the dungeon masters that's running the campaign, and it is fully fleshed out. Lots of lore and puzzles. It's fully broken down into chunks for each session, but then it also you don't have to go on exactly what's in that campaign. It basically just breaks it down. This is what you can do, but with it being theatre of the mind, there's enough in there for DMs to actually adapt and put their own pieces in. The only thing I would say is this: when you read the actual lore book, and obviously the player's handbook will be for DMs, and the architect's handbook, there is core mechanics in there that has to be adhered to, and they're put in there specifically for a reason. And the actual lore is all built and based around the classes that you can become. I mean, there's a lot which for a DM they can look at and they can tweak and make it their own, using what's in the lore book. But there is certain mechanics that cannot be tampered with, otherwise it would just break the system apart. So, and obviously with it being theatre of the mind style of play, there's 2 books. There's a Theatre of the Mind Seeker's Guide, so players can learn the basics, because I know a lot of people are sort of more into the tabletop RPGs and like Foundry and Roll20, but I wanted to make a system that went back to basics, because I think there's a lot of fun in Theatre of the Mind play, and it was what Dungeons and Dragons was really the start of that. I mean, that's how it started. Theatre of the Mind, No maps, no figures, just the players, a character sheet, a pencil, dice, and when I was thinking of creating a system like this, I didn't just want to do a theatre of the mind for the architect or the dungeon master. I wanted to create also one for the players. So players had a book that would read and learn like the basics of theatre of the mind play, just to see just for them to actually try it. Because I know there's probably a lot of people out there that's heard of theatre of the mind, but either two don't really fancy playing it because they don't really understand, the mechanics of it. So with the Theatre of the Mind book, it does go into how it all started, and how it started even before it got turned into D&D. It's like a full book. And it's quite an interesting read, going back on how it all came together. I've also got some other books as well in the school community. There's obviously Theatre of the Mind, the Architect's Craft book, which gives the architect items that can be crafted. There's the Law of Valdros, and Valdros is obviously the world which it's all set on. It's split into 6 continents, so in total there will be 6 campaigns, and with the campaigns, they're all linked to one big epic quest, which you will obviously find out as you go through each of the campaigns. There's arms, armour and equipment. That's both for the players and the architect, and it just lists everything that's in the first two or three campaigns. There's Codex of the Consumed is basically your monster manual. With the monster manual, this is only going to be available for the Dungeon Master. I am looking at doing a shortened down version for players, but it's another thing like the Architect's book. I don't want to give too much away, so there's more mystery for the players. It's like if I did that Codex of the Consumed for players to read, they could just flick through, look at all the monsters, find out exactly what skills they was going to do, and it wouldn't give them mystery for when they actually met the monsters. So, and wants to do the dungeons and a monster comes in, I think having the Dungeon Master actually telling them what the monster is and explaining, and let the players find out what skills, I think it'll feel a bit more exciting rather than the players get to a monster and they're like thinking, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and knowing exactly what that skills and magic that monster's got. We've also got the Architect's Workshop and Toolkit, and this is basically if you like, a hint book, and just telling the architects what Chronicles of the Void is, and giving them little hints and tips of the campaign and what they can do, what they can't do. If they wanted to change something in the campaign, how they could possibly change it, So, and a workshop is just how you actually, how the architect works, a bit like the Dungeon Master in the Dungeon Master's Guide. The Book of Fragments is for the seekers or the players, and it doesn't give too much away. It basically gives you a hint of the six classes that you can be, and a little bit of information on the lore and the backgrounds of each of those subclasses. And that is it. I mean, there is others. Um, there is other books I'm working on, and for the campaigns, I have got the first 5 campaigns drafted. Campaign 2 is just going through its final edits, and obviously pictures and images, maps for the DM for when he's doing Theatre of the Mind to explain like dungeons and the villages and towns. But there will be 6 campaigns in total, as I said earlier, and it'll all lead into one main quest. And obviously everything's interlinked, so something that happened in campaign 1 will carry on through other campaigns, like NPCs will appear. So I just wanted to go through my school community that I've set up, and a little bit of information on the books that I've already done. One of the other things I am doing is taking a bit of time, but I've also almost finished a website app in which, once you finish that Destiny dungeon and the architect has got all the calculations down, I have created a website for creating the player characters, which is basically, it'll list all of the skills. The architect will just put all the numbers in for that player, and it'll generate the character for them. And then he will then be allowed to send through a link that character to the player, which will be a web page, and then that player will be able to look at his character sheet. There'll be certain things he can do on it, like he'll be able to change his hit points and equipment. He'll be able to roll through the character sheet and a few other things, but that's work in progress. I've got it virtually to how I want it, but it still needs a little bit of work doing to it. So I just wanted to go through my school community. Thank everyone for watching me YouTube shorts. They are getting some decent views, so I know people are watching them and are interested. So if you are interested in joining my school community, I am mainly looking for DMs and obviously players, but more so DMs that's willing to actually look through the basics of the engine and give me some feedback, and if there was interested in actually running the Threshold dungeon and the Destiny dungeon, to try it out, see what works, see what doesn't work, and just to start getting a few reviews on the actual engine. So if you're interested, please leave a comment, and I will upload the link, or if you send me a message, I'll send you a link for my school community. For the YouTube shorts, I think there's 53 shorts in total, so we're almost halfway through. But thanks for watching, and if you're interested, just send me a message and I will send you the link to my school community. Bye for now.